it's official. The Knicks have hired Mike Brown to be their next head coach, the two-time coach of the year, 454, 304 career record. He's a four-time NBA champion as an assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors. He's somebody who's had a lot of success in the league. He's somebody who has coached LeBron James, assistant coach to Steph Curry, turned the Sacramento Kings franchise around when they were at the bottom, very similar to what Tom Thibodeau has done with the New York Knicks organization. He's somebody who's well-respected within the league. And honestly, out of all the candidates that the Knicks interviewed, out of everybody who they try to poach from other teams, if you were to ask me one coach who I probably would have chosen out of everyone that they reached out to, I think Mike Brown would have been my choice too. So you're talking to a Knicks fan right now who's happy about this for the most part. I do think hiring Mike Brown can be looked at as a lateral move if you're a Knicks fan, but going lateral from Tom Thibodeau is not such a bad thing because Tom Thibodeau in his own right has been a coach of the year and he's a very successful coach. Maybe this team just needed a new voice in the locker room. Maybe they needed a little bit of a different philosophy offensively to get Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns working together. Maybe they just needed a change. And I'm going to give Leon Rose and the front office the benefit of the doubt because they have done nothing but make this team better every year since they've come into this organization. I think Mike is a solid coach. He is somebody who has coached different types of teams. So with Cleveland, it was all about defense. When he's an assistant coach with Golden State, they were just a juggernaut. And even though he wasn't the head coach, you had to believe that he had something to do with their success there. And then in Sacramento, he realized he had a certain roster. They turned into an offensive team that knew how to score the basketball at will, used his personnel correctly. Just somebody who I think is, just based off my knowledge about him, is more adaptable than Tibbs. Somebody who I think will look at the roster and base his game plan off of whatever the Knicks are giving him, what his roster dictates. And I think if you're a Knicks fan, you have to be comfortable with that because I think if any Knicks fan were to talk about Tom Thibodeau, even the ones that love him, they would have to agree that he was very stubborn in his ways and that he wasn't really willing to change with the times. He wasn't willing to change with his roster, and he was very stuck to his philosophy and his way of thinking. Mike Brown doesn't seem to be that type of coach. So, listen, he's the coach now, Knicks fans. Let's welcome him. Let's embrace him. Let's root for him. Whether he was the guy you wanted or not, he is now the coach. Mike Brown, welcome to New York. Let's get started. Bring us a chip, baby. I'm here for it. I am here for it. All right. In other news, the New York Post has reported and also confirmed through their sources, it was reported on SNY as well, that the Knicks kind of interested in Ben Simmons, which I find kind of interesting. Ben has had such a wild career, had such a promising start to his career as a playmaker. Always been a good defender, but, back injuries and a bunch of drama later with the 76ers kind of derailed his, not just career, but his reputation as well. Find it very interesting that the Knicks are out to maybe recruit him to the team. They don't really have a lot of money. It would have to be on the vet minimum. Personally, I wouldn't want Ben on the team. He's somebody who, not that I think he's a cancer or that I think he's bad at basketball. I just don't think he's somebody who fits the mold, especially when you have someone like Josh Hart right now, who I wouldn't say he's Ben Simmons-like, but he's somebody who defenses sag off of. You don't want another player like that. I know you wouldn't play them together. I understand that, but you already have one player whose job it is to do all the ancillary things, all the dirty work. That's Josh Hart. That's his role, right? He's not going to hit threes. He's not going to shoot threes. Defense are going to sag off of him, but Josh is going to get offensive rebounds. He's going to grab boards. He's going to do other things. But if you have two of those guys on the court at the same time or on your team, things can get a little muddy. Lineups can be kind of weird. I just prefer Ben stay away. Nothing against him. I just don't think the timing is right. I don't think the roster's right. I wish him the best, but there have been reports that the Knicks are looking to bring on Ben Simmons. I don't know if there are any Knicks fans out there who would want him. Let me know in the comments if you would want Ben Simmons. I think this is a pass for everybody. This is maybe just the Knicks kicking the tires. Let's see if he can come back. Let's see if he can give us something that he hasn't been able to give the Nets and the Clippers and other teams that he's been a part of. But I highly doubt that happens unless Ben comes to the Knicks on a vet minimum and doesn't really have anywhere else to go. The Knicks are trying to fill out a roster. Another player, Landry Shamet, who was on the team last year, who had an up-and-down season. I thought he played well in the playoffs. He's somebody who can hit the three. You definitely like that off the bench. Big intensity. He finished the year off strong, which I appreciate, especially in the playoffs. He played well in the Indiana series when Tibbs finally put him in and gave him a shot. I think having him on the bench to go to as maybe an 8th or 9th man isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't know how much he's asking for or what he's looking for in free agency. Other teams are rumored to be interested in him as well. But he's somebody who, as a Knicks fan, I wouldn't mind bringing back for another year. Again, he's another one who's had an up-and-down career in the NBA, pretty inconsistent, but when he's good, when he's hitting the three ball, he's somebody who's very valuable. And he provided some value to the Knicks last year in the playoffs, and anytime you perform well in the playoffs, I think Knicks fans appreciate that, and they would like to have you back on the team. He's somebody I'm willing to give another chance to, maybe a year or two deal. Obviously not too much. The Knicks don't have a lot to spend right now. They're looking for vet minimum contracts. So that would have to be the case if Landry can't find another contract out there. Maybe he comes back with the Knicks. He's somebody who I wouldn't mind coming on to the team. All right, well, that's going to do it. No short episode. Mike Brown is the big news here. Going forward, let's build a roster that is going to fit his vision. Whatever that vision is, whatever vision he sold to Leon Rose, let's build a roster that's going to fit that vision. Summer League's coming up very soon. So looking forward to that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Drop a comment. Do you think the Knicks should sign Ben Simmons or Landry Shamet? Who else on the free agency list do you think the Knicks should get? There are not a lot of options based off of the money that the Knicks have right now. There's going to be Mikal Bridge trade rumors. There's going to be Karl-Anthony Towns trade rumors. We're going to get into that as well when they pop up. But, non-eventful day outside of Mike Brown signing with the Knicks. I'll catch you tomorrow for another episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.